Well, first, I just want to say how much we appreciate your business. We appreciate the opportunity to serve you. It's such an honor to be part of the continued growth and success of your company. And we're excited on this webinar just to talk through some of the things we're finding that are working really well for our clients throughout the country. And you know that we have a couple hundred plumbing and HVAC companies we work with throughout the United States and internationally. And we are always learning and trying to stay on the cutting edge. I conduct interviews. I try and do at least a bi-monthly interview with some plumbing or HVAC business that's killing it with their business. And what we want to share on today's webinar is just what we call our digital dominance method, but it's really a culmination of what we're seeing working really well across the country with other highly profitable, highly successful plumbing and HVAC clients. And we want to share that with you. So I've also got Dean, my business partner, on the call. So Dean, say hi to everybody.
Hey guys, how you doing? Hope everybody's well.
So Dean will be listening in for the questions that you might have. So this is a live webinar. So we do want to share information, but we also want to answer questions that might be beneficial to the group. So if you have questions as we go or questions at the end, you'll be able to type those into the question box and we'll do our best to answer those for you. Without further ado, really what I want to talk about is what we've coined as the digital dominance method. And for us, this is what we're seeing, the big picture of your overall internet marketing strategy and what your overall internet marketing strategy should look like. And clearly you're with us doing internet marketing and mostly specifically SEO and social media marketing in most cases, where we're managing your website, we're managing your content, we're doing the necessary work effort to make sure you're ranking as well as possible for the most important plumbing or HVAC related keywords in your service area. We've got the reputation management system in place. We're really proactively focused on that. And for a lot of you, we're also managing your social media. So Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, updating those social profiles on an ongoing basis. And that's really the foundation of what we do and the foundation of our services. But I just want to make sure that it's clear that though our name is SEO, there's a lot of other things that you might potentially want to implement as far as your overall internet marketing strategy to drive even more calls, more sales, and better profitability. And that's what we want to go through with you on this webinar. And so I've kind of blown up the image, and it's really 8 core steps or 8 core internet marketing elements. And we'll go through each of these in a little bit of depth throughout the next, let's just call it 30 minutes or so, and talk about where you guys might want to go next and some of the other online marketing initiatives that you might want to roll out. So again, step 1, we should have this fully covered for you, right? Setting up your website, doing your citation development, doing your link building, making sure that you're systematically requesting and getting online reviews and sharing the good news about that across the web, and tracking the Google Analytics, tracking the rankings, and helping you track the calls and the true return on investment associated with all of your internet marketing as a whole. Now, with that said, there are some additional things that we can do for you to help get even better results from your online marketing. And one of those is just adding video. Some of you guys have embraced the concept of video and you've got great videos on your website, whether it's you talking or some type of spokesperson talking on the website. And I've always been a big proponent of having videos for all of the different core services that you offer, so that when somebody gets to the website, they have someone welcome them and say, hey, we're a full service plumbing or HVAC company and this is what we do. And then on the drain cleaning page or the water heater page or the emergency plumbing page, having a video that talks to that particular service. And we know that's valuable from 2 elements. The first element is it helps with conversion, right? They're trying to decide whether they should call you or call the competition. If there's a video there and they get to learn more, that's going to improve the probability that they choose you. The other thing is it really actually helps with our SEO efforts. The search engine's constantly changing, and one of the key elements now is user experience. So what's the customer or visitor doing once they get to the page? Are they staying on the page for more than 30 seconds? Or are they clicking to a deeper section of the website? And so we found when we have video, we can keep them on the web page, whatever page it is, for just that little bit longer, and that can have a huge impact on our SEO results. And so I'm going to encourage you that you should be thinking video, and you could do this on your own if you've got iPhones or Android phones. You can shoot video, and we've had clients that do very basic video and it works well. We also have some video marketing services for you that we can talk about if you're interested in learning more about video and how you can leverage video further. We do have some solutions where we can get a film crew at your office or take some basic video and customize it with your company information. So take some of the core videos we've made about drain cleaning, about water heaters, about HVAC equipment, add your logo to the front, add a call to action at the end, and for pretty cost effectively, we can get that up and running for you. So that's one thing. Whether you do it with our extra help or you just do it on your own, you should be thinking video for your SEO and your organic, which isn't bolted into the core element of what we do. The other thing that we're actually finding to be real effective, it's what's called live chat. And live chat is just adding an element to your website, so when someone gets there, instead of just browsing around, instead of just hitting the Contact Us button, they are interacted with a little drop-down chat on the site. And you've probably seen this on our site a couple of times. If you were evaluating our services, you saw a little chat box and the opportunity to engage. This is a service that we can provide for you. We're finding that chat can result in a 35% average increase in leads that come in via your website. And I've got a whole video that talks just about chat, and we've beta tested this enough to know that it's effective. There are tools that you can implement that would put a chat box on your site, but then you need to man somebody on the other side of the window to engage with visitors. The service we have available for chat is Done For You Chat, where 24/7, if somebody clicks the chat button and starts to engage, somebody from our team would be engaging back with them, trying to capture the basic information. What's your name? What's your phone number? What are you looking to do? And then forward it off to you. And so that's an option. Again, we're talking right now about the base number one, which is how do we maximize conversion from organic traffic. I wanted to talk chat just because we're finding that to be such an effective play for driving more leads when you've already got some good traffic flow to the website. So the next thing on our wheel of this digital dominance method is pay-per-click advertising. And I believe heavily in having the organic side of the equation down pat. Making sure you're ranking well organically, you've got good content, you've got personality, you've got all the right conversion elements, and that should generate a lot of calls and a lot of leads. But as you start to go to that next level and say, well, what should we be doing in addition to this? What can we do in order to drive more calls? Well, I really feel like the second logical thing that you should be doing, and we're finding the other highly successful companies across the country doing, is pay-per-click advertising. And that's just setting up an AdWords campaign, having a strategic process where you're bidding on the keywords that obviously that you serve. And there's some things that pay-per-click do that give you additional access to the people that are searching for you. So organically, you're going to rank for geo-modified terms. So that's your city plus the core word, plumber, plumbing, emergency plumber, whatever. With pay-per-click advertising, you can show up for non-geo-modified terms based on IP search. So if somebody types in plumber or emergency plumber without a geo-modified search, you can show up in the paid listings based on the proximity in your service area. So long story short, it gives you the ability to show up for words you're not going to be able to show up through organic search, but it also gives you the ability to make sure you're showing up as often as possible. So if you're already showing up on page one of the organic section for, let's say, your city drain cleaning, pay-per-click now gives you the ability to show up twice. And there's a symbiotic relationship where when you're showing up twice, it actually has a higher probability of you getting the click and getting the call. And so, again, I really feel like pay-per-click advertising, when done correctly with a strategic approach, can and will be very effective. And that includes creating strategic ad groups and creating separate landing pages for each one of those ad groups and really managing the bid on a consistent basis. That's how you get the best results. And so pay-per-click advertising is something that we do. Not a lot of you realize that. A lot of you are doing pay-per-click with us and getting good results, but something to consider as a secondary phase. SEO is going well. What can we do next? Pay-per-click is very effective. There's a new technology that we've been testing and we've been finding to be pretty effective and pretty cost efficient, and that's called retargeting. And what retargeting is, it's just giving us the ability to get back in front of those customers that get to your website and don't take action. So statistically, we know 90% of the folks that get to your website through pay-per-click or through organic traffic or even direct don't take action. So they're in your area, they're looking for your services, but they left and they didn't call and they didn't submit a web form. And so now potentially we've lost them. Through retargeting, we can drop a pixel on their browser, and the concept is as they're browsing the internet now, when they go to Facebook or when they go to ESPN or when they go to Time Magazine, through retargeting, we can hyper-focused banner advertise to those people. And it just gives us a better chance of getting that 90% that left the page, getting back in front of them and getting back to the website. Statistics tell us if we can get someone back to our website a second time, that doubles the probability that we're going to get the call. And so retargeting is a great option. Again, when we've got good traffic coming to the website, it's something that should and could be explored to generate a better return on investment for your overall internet marketing strategy. The next thing that we're just finding again to be effective ROI-based advertising through online is it's called paid online directories. And so yes, as part of our service, we're getting you in over 250 online directories with the goal of having consistency across the web. But there are certain directories that warrant looking at as a paid advertising play. So the number one, and I think most of you are in this, and if you're not, you should definitely consider it, is Angie's List. And I know some people don't like Angie's List or they've had a bad experience, but I can tell you based on my interviews, based on the feedback I'm getting across the country, Angie's List, when done correctly with an aggressive review aggregation strategy for getting a lot of reviews, positive reviews on Angie's List, can generate a significant return on investment. The other is Yelp.com. Yelp is one of those directories that's not popular in every market, but in markets like California and other highly dense populated areas, it's great. And one of the unique things that you can do with Yelp advertising is you can show up in and underneath your competitors' listings, which is something you can't do without a paid listing. And I'm getting reports of clients getting a really nice ROI from their Yelp advertising. And there are others that we're keeping a pretty close eye on that in some cases they drive ROI, sometimes they don't. It's really all about making sure that you've got the testing and measurement in place so you can know, all right, well, we're getting a certain number of calls and really know whether it's driving ROI. But there's YP.com, some people still go there. It's certainly not Google. It's certainly not Angie's List, but it's not that expensive, and it can be a great citation source as well as a great lead generator. And then there's smaller ones like Porch and House and eLocal Plumber. One of the things you want to look at as part of your overall internet marketing strategy and digital dominance, right? The whole focus of making sure that you're the predominant player in your area of service is to look at these online directories and see which ones make financial sense. And we just wanted to highlight some of the ones that we're getting positive reports on and seeing a positive ROI with. Now, the other critical element, and the reason we have it in number 5, is because sometimes the big focus is lead generation, right? And the first 3 or 4 are really all about lead generation. But element 5 is how can we drive more repeat and referral business? And pretty much all of you, as we had our initial conversations, would tell us the number one source of business for your company is repeat and referral business. Your past customers using you again, and your active customers referring you to their friends and colleagues. And so why not have a very aggressive repeat and referral strategy or repeat and referral effort? And so what we find to be the most effective for driving more repeat and referral is email marketing and social media. So if you're on one of our social media platforms or services, we've got you set up on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn. We're posting updates to those social profiles on a consistent basis, and we're working that angle for you with really the idea of remaining top of mind with your true customer base. Now, less of you, though, use this for your email marketing, and this is something that I think is a no-brainer that whether you're using us or whether you're doing it yourself, you should be doing, because it's so low cost and so high impact to have the names and email addresses of all of your customers, all of your leads, all of your customers, and making sure that you're getting an email out to them at least on a monthly basis. Just something to remain top of mind so that every month they get something from you and they can't forget who you are and have that opportunity. One of the worst things that can happen is they have a friend that needs a plumbing or HVAC company. They remember that they worked with somebody 4 years ago and they were really good, but they can't quite come up with the name. So this eliminates that possibility because you're sending an email blast on a monthly basis. And number five, yes.
Let me chime in on email marketing for a sec.
Please.
So one of the things that I hear about email marketing when we talk about it with the customers is they say, well, I don't have a database of clients. I haven't collected emails. Or I have 3,000 email clients that I've been servicing for years and years. So there's two issues here. Number one, older clients, if you've had an email list that tends to be several years old is kind of out of date, and it could cause problems. Blasting it out and having customers, unhappy about receiving this. But the one thing to think about, those of you that are using our Nearby Now service, you have a full database of emails that are fresh, that you've been servicing on a daily basis, and that's a great place to start with one of our email marketing programs. You have a real fresh, clean database right in front of you through Nearby Now, and that's low-hanging fruit for you. That's a great place to start. And along with that, we manage the database for you. So if anyone opts out of an email, you can rest assured that the database is kept clean, so there's no spam issues going on, and we can track everything. And it can be added to your monthly report. So what you'll see is how many people opened your email, how many people forwarded an email to a friend. So it's really a social experience for your customers and for your company to start helping out gaining referrals. So for those of you who think maybe you don't have a database and how do you build one, you already have one with Nearby Now.
Yeah, great point. And again, it's just such a low cost, high impact thing that every one of you should be doing. You should be pushing out an email on a monthly basis to remain top of mind. Now, number 6 on our list, the verdict is out, right? We've got a lot of negative feedback, but if you look at your overall internet marketing playbook and all of the different things that you could be doing, one thing is pay-per-lead services like Home Advisor, like Networks, like eLocal Plumber. And I'll admit that these leads tend to be the lowest quality leads, right? They're not just going to you. They haven't selected you. They're going to a number of different companies. And I almost didn't even put this on the list because so many of the plumbing and HVAC clients I've talked with have said they've done it and they failed and it wasn't effective. But then I have other conversations with guys like Lawrence Snow from Valley Plumbing and other companies that are really highly effective and highly respected folks in this industry, and they generate a ton of business through these pay-per-lead services. Now, this isn't their only channel, right? If this was your only channel, you'd be in a really bad place. But as a channel that you can ratchet up and ratchet down when calls are up or calls are low, it can be effective. Now, the way to do this right is you have to have an aggressive sales approach to those types of leads. And it's not just a function of, well, I get a lead and somebody will call back whenever they get a chance. It's a function of somebody has to be dedicated to it. The moment that lead comes in, they have to call them back, and then they have to have at least a 3-touch monitoring process where they're going to keep reaching out to that lead over the next 3 to 5 days until they get the appointment. And so I have this down at the bottom towards number 6. I don't think it's something you want to invest a lot of time and energy in, but it could be a part of your overall internet marketing strategy. And so that's why we mention it, and that's why it's in there. Number 7 is an interesting one, and this is social media advertising. So number 5, we talked about social media, leveraging Facebook and Twitter to drive repeat and referral business. Social media advertising is actually placing paid ads via social media. And we've started to beta test this. I had a recent interview with Jeff Morgan from Morgan Miller Plumbing in the Kansas City market, and he's getting a tremendous ROI from social media advertising, something like 39 times ROI, and he's hiring almost all of his new technicians via Facebook advertising. And so kind of the concept behind this is, if you're doing radio type advertising, which is brand-based advertising, you're usually hitting the same channel again and again, and you're trying to get a lot of frequency where they're hearing you 3 to 5 times per day, so that of your mass population in your metro area, the people that when they need a plumber, they remember you, or they need an HVAC contractor, they remember you. And it works, right? Especially these bigger companies, they're getting great returns on investment through radio and TV advertising, but they're spending big dollars in order to make it work. Through social media, you can actually accomplish a similar thing, especially with Facebook advertising. Because with Facebook advertising, you're able to select demographics. So you can say, I want to target all of the people within my service area that have an annual income of, let's just say, $75,000, and they own a home. So these are now, you're specifically targeting homeowners in your service area that have a certain income range, which might be your ideal customer. And then you can serve ads to remain top of mind to them. And what we're finding to work best is foot in the door type ads. So a low cost drain cleaning special or a low cost AC tune-up. And the whole concept is, people need these services. They see the low cost option. You get your technician in the door, and when they're there, it opens up to other services, installations, and larger ticket items. Dean, I know this is one of the things you really specialize in. Anything you want to add on the social media advertising piece?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point where it's that foot in the door model that advertisers have used for years. They get that low cost item to get them in the door, and it may not be even. They may go out there, they may do that cheap service and find nothing else wrong. But when you start putting some of these things together, where now that you've created a contact, you've received contact information from this customer, you received an email address from them, and it allows you to put it into your database and continue to market to them. And so when you start putting email marketing together with your social media marketing, you're building this list, and there, it gets you out of that out of sight, out of mind situation. You guys may service a client once a year, maybe twice a year, maybe 3 times, or maybe once every couple of years. But you want to always have your name out there. You always want to be the go-to guy. And when you're pushing your name out in social media marketing, this is when you really want to brand yourself as the go-to guy. You don't want to be just the next plumber in your city. You want to be the plumber in your city. You want to be the guy that the local CNN broadcast contacts when there's some massive problem that happened in a city, and they want to call on an expert. So as you're pushing yourself out in more of these platforms, you're being recognized as the expert. And social media marketing and advertising is definitely one great way to do it, and it's just a way to build upon those lists, building up your name, getting them in front of them, that foot in the door product. And once you're out there and you're doing great service, it starts the cycle, and everything kind of comes together for you.
Yeah, the other thing I'll add on the social media advertising, one of the things we hear from all of you on a very consistent basis is one of the hardest aspects as you grow your company is finding good quality technicians and hiring and recruiting quality people. And so one of the most amazing things you can do with Facebook advertising specifically is to hyper target the cream of the crop plumbers in your area. So one of the obvious things is that if you're advertising for new technicians or new HVAC contractors, on Career Builder, on Monster.com, on these other job boards, the only people that are really reading that are the guys that aren't working now. And if they're not working now, they're not usually the best guys. Something didn't work out right. They weren't selling well, they weren't providing good service, and now they're back on the job market. And what you wind up with in that market is a lot of retreads, not the guys that you want to get. The guy you want is working for your competitor, working for one of the companies in your market, and doing really well. So how do you get that individual's attention? And going back to the radio analogy, and I've heard guys tell me that they were able to put radio ads that said, hey, we're hiring, here's a special signing bonus that we're offering to get the top quality technicians, all with the concept of attracting those guys that are doing well and working somewhere. Now that's really an expensive way to recruit quality talent. With Facebook advertising, we can target people within your service area, and you can even go wide if you're willing to relocate folks, that have in their profile their job title as a plumbing technician or an HVAC technician, or have shown an interest in plumbing, and run that same type of messaging. Look, we're hiring, we've got a special sign-on bonus, these are some reasons to come look for us, and this is a great path to recruiting and hiring high quality technicians. So again, that's something we can help you formulate. If that's something that you're in the process, you're trying to hire, you're having a hard time, we can run some different programs along those lines.
One other thing I want to add on the social media marketing, one of the biggest questions, and this is not only in the plumbing industry, this is business as a whole. All small businesses have always asked, how do I measure ROI on social media? And forever, there was never really an answer, because it was very hard, because you're just pushing out information, and you're pushing out plumbing tips, and you're pushing out, humorous things to try to get people to engage, and it has become extremely hard, if not impossible, to measure ROI. But right now, for the first time ever, that's becoming a little more transparent and a little bit easier to measure, because now Facebook, the whole advertising platform, I mean, you can see such great statistics, deep in depth, and then now you can actually, push out ads that show up in people's newsfeed that are drawing in, that are really out there just to say, hey, we're a plumbing company and we can do this service for you for this much, and it's just a great form of advertising. And Facebook is scaring everyone online, because they're just becoming so big and so enormous, and the cost per click is, my gosh, so much cheaper than Google PPC, and it drives it results in business. And now finally we can get a better grasp on ROI from a social media campaign. Before we move on, Josh, there's a question.
Okay.
There's a question from Levon, and this question probably goes back more to when we were talking about the email marketing stuff. He says, is there a good CRM service you would recommend, like a customer database?
So I would say there are great CRMs and dispatch platforms out there, and I'm sure from all of the people we have on this webinar, it's a lot of the clients across the country, you all use different systems and different platforms. We're actively involved in Nexstar and QSC and Service Roundtable. And one of the newer platforms that I tend to like, just because it's web-based, it's got some really nice tracking functions, is Service Titan. It's a really quality system. You don't buy it, you pay. It's almost like a SaaS, software as a service. So if you haven't looked at that particular platform, I would recommend you check it out. I'm not excluding any of the other platforms. I know there are fantastic systems for this, and there's lots of different options. That's just one that I've seen and I've been really impressed by, and a lot of our clients are using with very good results. The other, if you're talking about customer database for emails, there's a lot of different systems and tools. There's Constant Contact and MailChimp and Aweber, and all of those work well. We will either work within your existing email marketing platform, or we'll set up an account for you to manage email. So I'm not sure which of those two you were talking about. I think you're probably talking more on the dispatching / CRM, customer management system side of the equation.
And just to jump back on the email for a second, one thing to keep in mind with email marketing, it's all about consistency, and whether you're using us, another company, or doing it yourself, it's just a matter of saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to send out my email campaign every Tuesday of the first Tuesday of every single month, and it has to be that same day every single month. You need to develop that consistency, and sometimes when you use these services on your own, you do it for the first couple months, and you don't see something happening right away, or you got pulled in another direction because you got to run your company. And email marketing is a long-term thing. It's fairly inexpensive, and it's just keeping your name in front of the customer, but on a consistent basis. So the expectation is that your message is coming at this time, and over a period of months and years, that will happen. People will see that and expect that.
Absolutely. And then, of course, element 8, really taking things full circle, is all about driving referrals and repeat business, and leveraging a little bit of offline. So we call this the digital dominance method, and there's some great things we can do in terms of leveraging the web to track and quantify referrals. But really what I like about element 8 is, yes, you can send emails, and email has power, but you also want to be sending physical things to your customers after the fact. Nothing will wow your customer more than you go out, you provide service, whether it's an installation or repair, and they get a little thank you note, just a very simple, thanks so much for your business. We really appreciate the opportunity. Not just an email, because we know we're sending an email, but also a physical thank you note in the mail, and then sending either a physical newsletter or some type of quarterly touch can have a huge impact on the experience that they had with you, and that experience drives the likelihood that they're going to refer you and use you again in the future. And so we've got some great solutions within actually leveraging direct mail to follow up with the customers after service. And so again, our whole purpose behind this was to help you see the big picture. And depending upon when you signed up with us, we might have been talking really heavily about SEO and the organic side of the equation, and that's still essential. That's still a huge piece of the puzzle. That's where you have to start. But there's a lot of other things that come into play when it comes to your online marketing. And if you want to be dominant with your digital presence, then you're going to want to be doing at least 5 or 6 of the things that we have up on our digital dominance method. And we wanted to make sure that we explained this, and we brought this to your attention, and we really made sure that you're up to speed with what your overall internet marketing strategy should look like. So that's the digital dominance method. That's your online marketing playbook. If you'd like to talk about some of these various services, or if you just want to have a strategy session where you talk about, okay, here's what we're doing now, what can we do next, what are the next pieces that we should roll out, then certainly talk with your account manager. If you'd like, you can also talk to me or Dean and just get clear on, here's where you're at today and here's what you might want to consider next in order to drive more leads, more sales, and greater profitability in your company. So thank you so much for taking the time with us. I know you guys are busy. You got a lot going on. Really appreciate you breaking off the time that you have to hear what we have to say and kind of recenter around what your overall strategy should look like. And we're live, so if you have questions, we'd love to answer those questions. But more than anything else, we just want to express our gratitude and our appreciation for being part of your company and the continued success of your business. So we'll hang out for a couple more minutes. If you have questions, put them in the question box. If not, again, thank you for your time. And one last thing before you go, we have set up a Facebook group, which is a plumbing and HVAC mastermind Facebook group. And the whole purpose is for you to be able to talk with the other folks and exchange ideas, both online and offline. So I'll be sending an email after this session with a link to that. If you're on Facebook, which I imagine you are personally, all you have to do is click on the link and request access. It is a private group, so it's not open to everybody, and we'll add you to that group so you can be a part of this digital mastermind, so to speak.
Hey, I have a question from Michael.
Okay.
And Michael's saying, when you talk about an email marketing campaign, like what kind of information goes in it? What are we sending?
Okay. I'll let you dive on that one, Dean.
So yeah, it's a good question. And so it goes back to the 80/20 rule. You want to give out 80% good information and 20% sales. There's nothing worse, and I see it all the time. I see it in email marketing stuff that I receive. I see it on people who use LinkedIn, go into LinkedIn, and you get those guys where it's all sales, right? It's like um, every message I ever received from this one person just selling me, selling me, selling me, selling me, selling me. And to me, it's a turnoff because uh, you're not providing me any value whatsoever. All you're trying to do is sell me something I'm either not interested in buying or I may not need to buy. I may not need a water heater right now, and that's all you're telling me you have, and that's all you want to sell. And it's month after month. We want to give 80% good content information and 20% sales. So in the email marketing campaigns that we do, we're providing information. And this information is a lot of the blog posts that we write and publish on your blog sites are good quality information about things that are going on. So it might be a seasonal thing when we're moving into the cooler weather. We might talk about furnaces. When we're moving into the summer months, we may talk about things that happen at that time, maybe kitchen upgrades and along those lines. So it's really pushing out information and then throwing out like a coupon or a special that maybe gets your foot in the door. So it's always using 80/20, not 100% sales all the time, and not just all information where we're not giving a pitch to. In the end, we want a sale. We want to book a service call. So 80/20 is the answer to that. Always be providing great information.
Good deal. Any other questions on there, Dean?
Hold on, let me look. I'm sliding through. So far, no.
All right. Well, again, thank you guys for joining us. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to your account manager. We can talk about the various things we can help roll out. And just thank you so much for your business and continue onward and upward.